Good day, folks. Today I'm out here realizing just how good I have it back in Malaysia. I've been gone for around 10 days. First went to Jakarta, Indonesia, and then came to Bangkok and now in Pattaya, around 2 hours from Bangkok. Till now, had perfect weather actually. Just this morning is a little overcast, it was raining. So it's a little bit dead out here, a little empty out here right now. It's also low season, so yeah, it's not super busy out here, which is kind of a good thing. However, when you're a YouTuber and you're trying to make interviews on the street, it proves difficult. And so that is kind of the topic of this video, is just realizing how much more difficult it is to film these street interviews out here, both in Thailand and when I was in Jakarta. For multiple reasons, right? Multiple reasons. Right now I'm finding it hard to find people. Actually I went out a couple of days at this point. I went out to film in Bangkok because I had put up a community post on YouTube saying like, which of these topics do you want to see in Thailand? You know, which of these is interesting for you? And of course, the most popular rated one would be about the ladyboys, about why are there so many ladyboys in Thailand? And so I knew, okay, well, this is going to be a hard topic to begin with, somewhat difficult. But I went out in Bangkok, tried to do some nighttime interviews. And I went to the belly of the beast, you know? I went into Ladyboy Central, let's say. I went into, Nana Plaza area, areas where I thought, okay, there's going to be foreign tourists speaking English who I can pick their brains about this topic. What I didn't think, or what I didn't realize, is that those folks, those men mostly, don't want to be on camera. They don't want to be on camera talking about ladyboys because they just cannot ruin their image like that. They can't be seen out there on the streets. And that's what it was. I probably asked, I want to say 75 to 100 people. And I got one interview. One interview the whole time, which I'm happy with. I'm happy to get one. I know it's a few minutes long, but I need more. I need more for that video. And so I came out here to Pattaya. Wanted to get out of the city. Part of the reason coming to Thailand was like get out of the city for a moment. So I didn't want to just stay in Bangkok. As much as that is probably the best place for me to shoot video. Yeah, I came to Pattaya, immediately tried filming over on Beach Road. Again, another area where there's like working women around, and so it's a certain type of tourist around maybe, and they don't want to be on film. They either don't even want to stop and pay attention to what I'm talking about. Usually I just tell them, I'm a YouTuber, I'm out here like doing street interviews, I'm doing an interview series, making a video. Try to just open it friendly and casual. And back in Malaysia, it's very simple. People are very receptive to it. But out here, it's a little different. It's a little bit different. I think I need to avoid the such heavily touristic zones potentially, and at least the areas where it's like a lot of like sexpats or a lot of almost broke my ankle there. A lot of these types of guys who don't want to be on film, right? I think that's what I've learned. And also in Indonesia, it was equally difficult because nobody spoke English. I don't speak Bahasa. The locals, it's not really an English-speaking culture. And so, yeah, it definitely was difficult as well in Indonesia. I managed to put one video out. Fairly controversial interviews, I'd say. It's meant to be kind of a lighthearted video. Some people took it poorly. That's just how it's going to go. That's all right. A lot of people enjoyed it as well. But yeah, I tried multiple days out there making interviews too, and I was coming up short. And so I decided, okay, I guess I got to do this in Bahasa. I guess I have to let them speak Bahasa. And I managed to get some translating done, Bahasa to English, like afterwards. And so, yeah, I don't mind doing that. I don't mind doing that out here. Do a little bit in Thai language and then make some translations. That's fine with me. As long as I can get the content, as long as I can get the people to stop, listen, and give their response. And we actually have a lot of construction out here on Beach Road. I'm in the Jam Tien area of Pattaya. This construction has been going on for a while because of how badly it floods here. It gets really bad floods. And it seems like they're trying to do something about it once and for all. So better that it gets fixed and they have something in place so it's just not flooded out, this whole street. Because it's like the heart of the area, right? The driving road along the beach, the walking path along the beach. But I am enjoying my time out here. I am really enjoying my time in Thailand. I always do. Just, having some difficulties with the content. So I decided to come out here today, make a good old vlog for you guys. I know a lot of you enjoy this kind of content as well. The interviews just do so well. The demand for them, the viewership is so much higher that I also need to do those. I need to do those as well. It's like my new bread and butter, right? Might actually make me, in the end of the day, a decent income. I may actually be able to make a decent income on YouTube now that I found, I think, something that I'm strong at and something that there's a spot in the market for. It's just not easy. And no one said it would be easy, right? I'm just kind of coming out here and figuring out, what countries can this work in, what neighborhoods, maybe how to approach people for interviews. So just learning everything from the get-go. But because I live in Malaysia and because I started doing it in Malaysia, I kind of started off in easy mode. Think of it as a video game. We have easy mode, we have medium, we have hard, we have, hardcore mode, the most difficult. I think we started at the very beginning. We started on easy mode. Everyone speaks English in Malaysia. In general, the locals as well as the foreigners there, the tourists visiting at least are like very friendly and easily approachable. And they're not up to mischief, they don't mind being on camera at all. It's not men like ducking their wives, I suppose, in these red light district areas. I've also just realized okay, I have to go into some different areas to film. Another difficulty with those areas is that there's people working the street, hassling people, trying to sell people things. Every 10 feet, asking for a taxi. Do you need a taxi? So I'm just another guy out there now, hassling people on the street, trying to stop people, where I run into the same issues in Malaysia, where if I'm on an area where there's a bunch of street performers and people asking for handouts and stuff like that, I'm not going to do as well. Those people don't want to stop for me. They don't want to stop for anyone. It's just kind of let's just move along. But if you're in an area and there's nobody else doing that, people, give you their attention a lot more. And so, yeah, living and learning here, just got to kind of walk into the street. It's not ideal, but you can see just how much construction is it's this entire road here. And it just makes it a little bit hard. Jom Tien is usually a great area to stay. But I would say at this moment, with the way the beach is, this is also supposed to be a two-way street. And so it massively changed the area for the moment until this construction is actually done. But we will get out of the street. We'll go over to the sidewalk. So I'm just out here with a giant stick and phone in my hand. But yeah, Indonesia, actually, I ended up really enjoying Jakarta. It's actually a cool city. It's an interesting city with a lot of energy and some of the best people, some really amazing people there. So I had a great trip. I made a lot of friends. I went out one night, which was a blast. The nightlife there is pretty strong. Yeah, that was the only thing where I went out and I was like, oh wow, I don't know if Kuala Lumpur has nightlife like this. I don't know if Kuala Lumpur has this level of, just nightlife and energy going on, especially it was a weekday. It was a Thursday night. And I was like, well, this feels like a weekend and it's just very strong. So I left with a very good impression of Jakarta. Actually, the food quality was very good. I was buying my own meats, groceries to cook, and I had access to high quality stuff. It was a little expensive for the import stuff, but it was high quality. And so, yeah, in the past, I spent a lot of time in Bali and I was always kind of going on about the food being not that great. The food quality in Indonesia being less than ideal. But you're in Jakarta, it's a little different than Bali. You're not on an island. I think the food on islands anywhere can be a bit of a miss at times, they kind of need to import it a step further, getting it to the island. So that's typically what it is. But yeah, I'm going to continue trying to make some interviews, or I am going to make the interviews out here. I just need to realize it's going to take me longer. And so I need to come out even earlier in the daytime and give myself a full 8 hours going out. Hey, doggy. Hey, doggy. So cute, but he's a little bit scared. Waiting for food outside of the 7-Eleven. So yeah, I've been going out more in the evening, you know, 5 p.m. Like, okay, I'm gonna get a good 2 hours where it's a bit cooler outside. But no, I need to give myself 8 hours of filming, just in the hopes of getting a couple good ones, few good ones. And I need to just realize, okay, you have it so good in Malaysia. And like, when I'm there, I need to pump it out even a little bit more, get out there and film a little bit more, in case I do travel and find it more difficult. That way I have some content ready. But I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled that you guys are enjoying the interviews, and I'm thrilled with the new direction of the channel. I've been seeing some people saying like I'm doing too much comparing of different countries. You know, I did a video like, just like asking people, I guess one of them was like, you know, what country has the most beautiful women? Then I asked like, yeah, asking Indonesians what they thought of Malaysia. It was just meant to be lighthearted. It wasn't supposed to be like some serious competition. That's not the point. People will take it however they want. But I'm not gonna do all content like that. I'm not gonna be strictly comparing countries. It's just, you know, something I do in my own mind when I'm going to a new place. I compare it to where I live in Malaysia, or I compare it to my past experiences. So yeah, I'm looking forward to going back to Malaysia, doing some more interviews more easily, you know. And I think I realized, okay, well, what's another destination that you can go that is a guaranteed hit, I would say? Like, well, Singapore. I think I need to explore the Singapore market as well and kind of stay in that pocket, right? Malaysia, Singapore, you know, go to Brunei, give a first impressions video of Brunei just because I'm very curious about the place. I'm sure I could do some interviews there as well. It's English speaking, and so it'd be cool to do something. The reason I did Indonesians, the way they think about Malaysia, is because such a large part of my audience is Malaysian. I was trying to think about, okay, well, what are my Malaysian audience also interested in hearing about Indonesians? Instead of just asking them something personal or something that Indonesians would be more into, I tried to tie it into my audience. And so that's kind of where the topic came from. It didn't actually stem from me wanting to do something controversial. It didn't start with like, oh, I know Indonesians and Malaysians have a beef, like let's dig into that. It's more like, how can I relate this video to Malaysia? And so that's pretty much what it is. But I don't need to relate every single video to Malaysia. But it's cool if I do go somewhere and I can make a topic that, yeah, kind of is an intersect of that country, the people in that country, and my Malaysian audience as well. And so, you know, if I'm able to do that, I will do that. And so occasionally maybe you will see a video that's like interviewing an expat, asking them like the differences of their experience living in Indonesia and Malaysia. What do they like better? Or maybe an expat in Thailand, and why did they choose Thailand instead of the other options, right? I think this is a good way to tie it in. Yeah, that's that. Otherwise, great trip. You know, I was just feeling like, one, I need a little bit of an escape. I need a little bit of an adventure. When I was just in Kuala Lumpur for the last month, and I had a subscriber offer me, you know, do you want to go to Jakarta, make a video there, 2 videos there? I'd love to see some content there. So I said yes. And they also offered to fly me to India or fly me to Bangkok. And so I said, yeah, let's do Jakarta and let's do Bangkok. And I'll make it like a 2-week trip. So that's kind of how this trip happened. That's why this trip happened. But I think the timing was just right. Now I'm like excited to go back to Malaysia. I'm excited to make more videos there. You know, it's always like that. It's always like that. It's like I'm there for a month and I'm needing a change. I feel like I need to take a trip. And then I take a trip for 1 to 2 weeks, and it's like, I'm excited to go back. It's every single time. And it's like a good balance to me. If I'm able to sustain that and manage that and figure out ways to get out cheaply, maybe even next time going somewhere else in Malaysia again, because I'd like to go back to Borneo, and I'd very much like to go to some islands. I haven't really been to any islands yet. So Tioman Island, that would be a cool trip, I think. Something like that. And the other areas of Malaysia, I will also be able to make content pretty good, like interview content, because again, people speak English. We'll get a perspective of Malaysians outside of the city. We can get a little more small town perspective with some of these topics. So yeah, I'm not sure how much longer my trip is going to be. Not too much longer, probably a couple more days. Might stay through the weekend, so I'm not sure. I just booked a one-way, or I had a one-way booked for me. I do need to buy my own flight back, and that's it. So I'm gonna see when there's a good flight. I just go off of like what's the cheapest flight at a decent time, because I'm not flying at midnight, and I'm not flying at 6 a.m. or something like that. Okay, I can save $5, I can save $8, sure, but at what cost, at what expense to my mental well-being trying to fly at that time, It just like really messes everything up in the schedule. So that's pretty much how I choose my flights. But yeah, today a little bit gloomy out here. Otherwise, it's truly been like extremely sunny every day since landing. And in October, that's a good thing. I really haven't been able to complain or ask for anything more. So a little gloominess in the morning, not gonna hurt anyone. But actually, it would be a little busier out here normally. It's a Jomtien night market as well. Place is pumping at night. Yeah, it always feels good to come back here. It really does. My main reason for coming back to Pattaya is I have all my stuff here. The reason it's always like my point of like, okay, I must go there when I'm in Thailand, at least for a few days. Like I have a big storage unit here with all of my stuff. And I always need to pay it. I pay it in cash. And I like to change my clothing. I like to get a bunch of different clothes, change what I'm traveling with, and that's it. I'm thinking about taking everything to Malaysia. At this point, I spend most of my time in Malaysia, right? If I can find a decent price storage unit, if any of you guys know like a good option for storage in KL, in Kuala Lumpur, because here I pay less than $10 a month. Which is great. I mean, if I could find that, that's just cheap, right? That's 50 ringgit. I pay less than 50 ringgit. I pay around the equivalent of 40 ringgit per month for a couple suitcases being stored in Thailand. Bunch of clothes, mostly, a bunch of clothes. But I come back here often enough, I want to come back here. If I'm able to, if I can afford to, I will come back here once a month for 1 week, something like that. Even once every 2 months, for a week to 2 weeks, it's nice. And I don't really spend more money. I don't have a permanent condo in Malaysia. I rent by the day, by the week. So when I up and leave from Malaysia, it's like, it's not costing me anything more. The cost of a flight typically. But otherwise, otherwise it's cheap. The accommodation is cheaper. I pay significantly less for accommodation here. So at the end of it, it's always very much the same. I'm spending the same amount of money. So it's like, while I have the freedom, while I'm not tied down to anything, while I don't have a long-term condo, yeah, I should utilize that and get out while I can and take some trips. As long as I can keep making content, as long as people will actually speak to me on camera. I thought about coming here actually. It's quite like a popular little expat bar. There's always like so many expats eating here. If I can find a way to casually meet them and get them to do some interviews. A lot of like YouTubers have gone there, thrown little events there, and a lot of the people who go there are actually, they're expats who follow YouTube vloggers. And so I think it would be a good spot to chat up some people, make some friends, and just get them to do a quick interview. It may actually be easier than stopping people on the street. To actually meet somebody and give them a little pretense about what I'm doing. then have them agree to it and set it up, right? That could work well. And that was literally my thought as I was failing on the streets, was like, maybe go to Wombat Kiwi Bar and like make some friends. So maybe I'll go there at nighttime actually. You know, people are on the booze a little bit, people are nice and friendly. You know, right now it's literally 11 a.m. People just out eating their breakfast. But it's always packed. That spot does very well. But yeah, otherwise, just gonna be out here for a couple days. You'll probably see this video, and then ideally you see one interview at least about the ladyboys in Thailand, and hopefully even another one. But at this point, I'd be happy just to have one really good interview in the series, in Thailand, in the books. That's it. Sawasdee krap. Good morning. Everyone out here extra nice, which is good. Yeah, gloomy or not, you know, people stay in a good mood. They really do. They keep their spirits up out here. People working hard, extremely hard in the morning, like setting up their shop every single morning, breaking down their shop every single evening. On the beach, even way down here, like, no customers out here at this moment. Yet there's still all this stuff set up on the beach. They're still trying to hustle, still trying to sell chairs, still trying to sell booze and food. So it's nice to see the occasional person still out there chilling, supporting them, even on a day like this. But yeah, that's Thailand for you. That's what it is. That's Southeast Asia for you, right? People working hard, people with good work ethic that make me feel like, Ben, your work ethic is not shit. I will say though, all the way out here, we are still all construction here. And that is usually like a huge beach walk, a huge path. It's actually a reason a lot of people choose to either stay in Jomtien or retire in Jomtien. There's a reason it's like popular, and it's mainly because of the beach walk. You know, it's like the chill area of Pattaya. It's where you would stay in Pattaya if you want a bit of an expat community, you want to have a big walking path on the beach, you know, condos along the beach, which are not that expensive to live in and stay in. And you want to be outside of the craziness. You don't want to be in Pattaya, smack dab in the red light district. Then you stay over here in Jomtien Beach. There's also North Pattaya, which is another area you can stay. Just don't stay in the center, I would recommend. And right now, North Pattaya is probably the move because it's not in complete shambles. The further you walk this way, the further we're going away from Central Pattaya, the further we're going away from red light districts and bars. Although you can still find those little bits of those things everywhere. You know, we're not in the thick of it. And that's how I like it. You know, it's nice. The quality of tourists is better. The quality of people around you is just much higher. That's what it comes down to. Whether or not you are even participating in the bars, in drinking, meeting these women of the night, I think just stay outside of it. I think just stay, yeah, a bit outside, and your daily interactions with people are going to be much better. I've stayed in Central Pattaya before, and let's just say you're dealing with like more of the lower quality, the lower end of tourists. That's another thing. When I'm out there doing the interviews, I'm like, what kind of people do I want answering this question? You know, the question about like, why are there so many ladyboys in Thailand, right? I'm also going to be kind of digging into people like, well, what is your experience? You know, have you been tricked? You know, or have you dabbled with the ladyboys? It's like, maybe I actually need to get that lower tier individual answering those questions. I might need to head to those areas to do the interviews and try and find an area where I can actually make my own spot. Because there are tons of women working there, and they're not gonna like me standing there working, foreigner encroaching on their territory, and it's just not gonna be beneficial for me either, because again, guys are there for something else, and they don't care about me when they're being propositioned by 10 people in one little area. Tricky, right? Tricky. Where do we go? Do we go to the mall? Do we do it outside of the mall here? Because that would yield a better quality of tourist. More couples, for sure. More Chinese couples. some European couples, stuff like that. But a whole different thing. So we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. Try and get 2 fat interviews done in Thailand. But I wanted to give you a little update, and that's it. That's it, folks. You got your update. I hope you enjoyed it. Drop a thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. And make sure you're subscribed, of course. And that's about it. I will see you in the next video. Next, watch my video about why I really came to Malaysia and left New York City. You can watch that right here.